Well, guys, once again, good evening. Welcome to the second part of today's session. As usual, like kind of couple of reminders for you to keep in mind during this week. Well, last week we had already discussed certain aspects for the speaking part. We already organized how you will be working on that day. I was also sharing with you some general, let's say, parameters, like how it's going to be divided, the two parts that it has. Of course, let's say that some aspects that we have pending are related to the questions that I'm going to ask you, and of course, the situations for every single group. I already, let's say, designed that part, or it was already taken from, of course, the different topic that we have been studying from our book. And I will let you know that on Thursday, okay? Especially the part about the situations in general. Another aspect for you to keep in mind is the activities in the virtual campus. Let me share the screen. I'm just like waiting like a couple of minutes before your other classmates arrive. I know that some of you have already done, let's say, all the activities. The idea is that hopefully you can do all the sessions, not the sessions, necessarily the sessions, all the written activities that we have, let's say, done during this cycle that is going to finish on Friday. I will check these activities until Wednesday, okay? On Wednesday, that it will be session 8, I'm going to close all the written tasks so I can start, let's say, putting those activities into the gradable component. Remember that the activities that we do here during our sessions will be part of the percentage that is related to the quizzes part. Remember that that percentage is 40%. We're talking about the activity that you do with Laura Daniela, and of course, the activities that you do here with me. I know that because of any possible situation, you have been working, you have been, I don't know, sick, whatever. Maybe in some sessions you haven't been like able to do the written activities that I propose for you for that day in particular. Remember that they will be available until Wednesday. I was going to send you an email this morning, but then I prefer like to first remind you, and then after that set of reminders, I will let you know. I will send you the email just like for you to keep that in mind. Okay. Sure. Well, actually, I had sent an email, Daniela. Maybe if you confirm that, I would really appreciate it. I sent, well, I'm going to share the email, sorry. Just like for you to refresh your memory, the name of the email is materials B1.2 Bloque 2. Let me know, Daniela, if you have it. Or you guys also like to.
I believe that I found, but only, okay, so
Yeah, what does it take?
I don't sure if I have, but only appear 5 sections, no 8.
Okay, no, I mean, well, actually, it looks different to you. Yeah, it only has like the 5 sessions. Tonight, I will remember to upload the material on session number 6. But the thing is that when you go to the material, for example, on session 1, then you are going to see, well, what we used during the session, and then you have here the link that takes you to the PowerPoint. That's how it works, actually. There is only one session that doesn't have, let's say, a gradable component that if you go to the link, it is not going to allow you to edit, and it's the activity that we did on session number 2. It was more like a speaking activity. The idea for you was to discuss, maybe like to refresh your memory a little bit, was to talk about, let's say, a kind of reality show of this businessman who wanted to hire someone for his team and that stuff. So in that case, you will see the charts, because the idea was a speaking part, but as I was telling you, it wasn't a grade. Just for you like to, I hope not to worry you about that. But yeah, that's how it works on the link that I share with you. You will have access to the materials. When you go to each of them, then you are going to see one slide that contains, let's say, like a screenshot of the image. and what you were supposed to do. Like for example, in this case, the link is up there when you were supposed to make descriptions based on the adverbs. Okay. Questions? This is the opportunity. Okay, guys. Well, I guess that it's already a good moment to take attendance. Let me turn the camera off for a moment. Let's do this administrative point and we can continue with what you've been doing on Unit 7. Today is the 23rd. Andrés Álvarez.
I'm here.
Okay. Don't worry. Joely. Joely, let me see the chat. Not yet, I hope. No vean. Andrea Vaca. Okay. Gilbert. Not yet. John. Not yet, looks like. Brian. Not here for the moment. Stephanie Cordova.
Present, teacher.
Okay. Let's continue. Silvia Alejandra.
Present, teacher.
Okay. Judy Lisette.
I'm here, teacher.
Okay. Diana Lisette.
Hi, teacher. I'm here.
Hello. Continue with Luisa Fernanda Paredes.
Present, teacher.
Okay. Luisa Fernanda Pérez.
Present, teacher.
Okay. Jordan Alexis Pinzón.
Present, teacher.
Okay. Mayra Juliet Pinzón. Mayra is not here for the moment. Mayra Alejandra Plata.
Present, teacher.
Okay. Alejandra Roballo. Alejandra is at present. Escuchamos muy lejos. No alcancé a ver. No, Alejandra is not here yet, hopefully. ¿O sí? Let's continue. Harold David.
Hi, teacher.
Hello. Angelica Stephanie.
Hi, teacher.
Hi, Angelica. Let me see the chat. Mayra Pinzón. Let me see. No, Mayra, no, I didn't hear you. Now I can. Sorry. Thank you for typing in the chat. Let's continue with Daniela Fernanda.
Hi, teacher.
Thank you. Joely, don't worry, welcome. I adjust the attendance immediately. Ana María Velasco.
Present, teacher. Hi.
Hello. Jennifer Jimena Vera.
Present, teacher.
Okay. Natalie Joanna.
Here, teacher.
Okay. And Christian Joseph.
Here, teacher.
That's it. Okay, just to clarify, in case that probably you didn't hear me or so I didn't hear you, for the moment, it's not here. Alejandra Roballo, Brian Cordero, John Carrero, and Gilbert Cárdenas. Ah, bueno, llegó Gilbert. Listo. Anyway, they still have, the other ones still have like 3 minutes, you know? So hopefully they get in here. Well, guys, as I was telling you, while I finish adjusting what we were going to do, we are going to work on pages 70 and 71 from our book. We also are going to review, okay. We're also going to review a little bit one of the topics that we studied on Friday, talking about adjectives, because besides, of course, the different activities that we have for today, we have reading, we have speaking, we also have writing. We can't deny that there is also a grammatical aspect, as I was telling you. It's also about adjectives. We were talking about a very specific group the other day. Today we're going to, let's say, enrich that information about the adjectives. But first, we're going to refresh our memory a little bit. But that would be for, I dare to say, like the second part of our session. Once again, pages 70 and 71. I'm going to jump a little bit to this part of the activity. I'm going here to put the list so I can read your names easily. And we're going to read, let's say, 4 mini articles, you know, talking about, let's say, interesting news. The title says, read the headlines below. Can you guess what the articles are about? We have German DJ breaks record. The weather presenter gets on air proposal. Women sues movie theater. And who's watching the audience? Let's see. Remember, notice what the title says. The idea that you predict. What do you think the articles are about? These are the titles, but what are they about? What could be a prediction for A? Daniela, what do you think? What do you think that article is about? Let me turn this on.
Rating or can you listen?
Yeah. I guess I just had it like on a low volume, but
Like a racing or a competition, then I don't know.
a racing, a
Maybe
competition.
any sport or TV show.
Okay, could be. Any other possible prediction for A, Jordan? What do you think? German DJ breaks
I
record.
think
Yes, Brian, pardon, Jordan, sorry.
that could be a song that won 1 billion.
Okay, could be. That is a good possibility. Let me adjust the attendance that now Brian is here. Okay, let's have a look at the second title. Well, the second heading. It says the weather presenter gets on air proposal. Harold, what do you think this article could be about?
About the teacher?
Yeah.
I don't know, teacher is about a proposal. I don't know how to say proposal is like proposito in Spanish.
Not really. It's when someone asks another person to get married.
Okay, it's I guess that maybe it's about a special show related to, I don't know, maybe in the air making some special letter for who are going to get married. Maybe, I don't know.
Could be, yeah, Harold. We're just predicting. Diana, what do you think? Be something different from what Harold already shared?
I'm a little bit agree with her. I think that is a TV show maybe in which somebody proposal to proposes to their couple.
Okay, we'll see. Let's have a look at C. Mayra Pinzon. It says Women Sues Movie Theater. What do you think this article is about? Hi, Mayra. We have a connection problem maybe, but the microphone as well. Yeah, Mayra, I think that We can't hear you. Maybe I'm going to ask someone else. In the meantime, probably you can type your predictions so you have the opportunity to share your idea. I think that it's something related to the connection. So, but I would like to know your opinion about C. In the meantime, while Mayra types what she thinks C is about, I'm going to ask Silvia Duran. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know, a problem at the movie theater or someone have an accident or no sé, some accident happened to a person and they have problem with the theater. I don't know.
Would be, yeah, we're just predicting. I know that sometimes this type of exercise is like, okay, how am I supposed to know? But that's precisely the intention. Let's see if at some point our predictions actually match what the real information of the text is about. Mayra says, Sue is like a demand. Okay. It's more like that technical way. In the meantime, Gilbert, what do you think about C as well? What could it be about? Do you have a different idea compared to what Sylvia already shared?
Okay, teacher, I think similar like so
100% similar.
a little bit.
How different? My point is that I would like you to tell me a little bit more, Gilbert. That was like my intention. But you said that you agree to what Sylvia shared. Let's have a look at D. Who's watching the audience? Judy, what do you think this article is about?
I don't know, teacher. Maybe it's about who analyze the what the people watching.
Who analyzes what people are watching? Could be. We'll see. And Andres, what do you think? Who's watching the audience?
Probably they are in an experiment, so there is someone that watching how the people do, how the people did. I don't know. I think that it's an experiment. It has
Okay, Andres, thank you very much. Well, guys, here we have these 4 headings. Of course, the idea is that, let me put it this. We're going to read now the articles. You know, here we have 4 different articles. I mean, in parentheses, the coordinator told us that now all of you guys have the books. I hope that the new participants, well, based on the time, already like did the whole process of creating your profile in order to have access to the books. Just in case if you don't have it, anyway, I will always keep on displaying the screen. Probably you have to take some screenshots to keep the information, but hopefully, once again, as I was telling you, the day that all of you have the information. So we're going to read the 4 articles. Of course, I'm going to rely on you. And the idea is to match the title to the corresponding article. As you can imagine, that is going to be our first activity. Of course, some articles are quite long. I'm going to, once again, ask for your help to read them. Let's begin with number 1. So, Ana Maria, you are going to read from Beijing until Fisher. Okay, let's start, please.
Sorry. A Beijing woman is so furious with a local cinema that she's suing them for wasting her time. Shen Xiaomei is suing the cinema's owners because she was not warned about the 20 minutes of adverts and trailers before the main feature.
Ana Maria, thank you very much. Andrea, could you continue, please? The second part, from she is demanding until she believes.
She's demanding a full refund, 35 yuan, compensation for emotional damage, and a written apology. In addition, Xiaomi now says that length of advertisements should be published on its website. In total, they should be less than 5 minutes, she believes.
That's it, Andrea. Thank you very much. Just to keep in mind the pronunciation, compensation. In this case, we have written, and this one, advertisements. This is a tricky one. Okay. Feature. Feature is like a characteristic. It's a synonym. It's a synonym, sorry. Okay. That was the first one. Remember, we are going to match with the headings that we analyzed, let's say, some minutes ago. I'm sure that based on what the information was, you already, let's say, matched with the corresponding heading. Let's have a look at number 2. The title says terrified by latest horror film or in tears at the latest romantic comedy. Let's see the information. So, Andres, please read from soon until reacts.
Okay, soon advertisers will be able to see your reaction to a film, so that adverts can be changed to make them more effective. Technology is now being developed with which can capture how the cinema audience reacts.
That's it, Andres, thank you. Ana Maria, continue. It will give until them illegally.
It will give film directors and advertisers useful information about what audience enjoy and what captures their attentions, say the invention Dr. Abdul Farouk. The technology will also be used to find pirates who secretly record films and then sell them illegally.
Thank you. So Andres, developed. In this case, we don't pronounce the ED.
Okay.
And Anna, pirates.
Teacher, sorry, is changed or changed?
Changed.
Thank you.
Yeah. Do you remember? Yes, Andres, sorry.
Advertisers?
Advertisers.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome. Guys, do you remember from the previous cycle when we talk about the ED pronunciation? Well, I know that we share a lot of information. Yeah, and pirates.
Yeah, but it's difficult for me. For example, remember when you have to pronounce a D, T, or ET.
Yeah, that's the trick. Like you have like to remember a lot of details all together. But just to refresh, remember that the ED sounds only when the verb finishes with T, like for example, invite, or D, for example, decide. So we have invited, decided. And in the other cases, then we have to, let's say, decide based on the information, if it is T or D. I will upload that information again on the materials. I know that, well, it is impossible to remember like every single details, but hopefully the more we practice, we remember a little bit more. Okay, Andres and Ana Maria, thank you very much. Let's move to paragraph 3. Well, situation 3, that, well, it is easily divided. Angelica, would you read the first part of article number 3, please?
Yes, teacher. A German DJ has broken the record for the world's longest non-stop radio show. Dominic Showmeyer, 26, ran his show for 169 consecutive hours, beating the previous record by 1 hour.
That's it. Brian, could you read the second paragraph, please?
Yes. School mayor was observed by doctors all through his broadcast. They say that the DJ had gone completely mad and was dancing like crazy man in the last few hours. At the end, Schoolmeyer said he was totally exhausted.
Very good. Well, that's information from the DJ. I'm sure that you already know which heading goes to that one. And in this case, we have our final article. Probably it's a little bit long, but anyway, the information is pretty clear. Christian, please, could you start reading from the viewers until asked?
Yes, until asked.
Mhm.
Viewers of the Weather Channel thought they were watching a soap opera, but the drama they saw was 100% real. Kim Perez was presenting the weather forecast when her boyfriend, Marty Cunningham, walked onto the set. How are you, Cunningham asked.
Okay, let's continue with the second part out of 3. Daniela, please, from Kim until me.
Kim was astonished when Kuninkman went down on one knee. And so were the viewing public when he said, I love you and I want to spend the rest of my life with you. Will you please marry me? Music began playing and the weather map behind Kim was changed into a giant Will you marry me graphic.
Okay. Well, you advanced a little bit, but that's okay, Daniela. Diana, could you finish the story, please? The 3 final lines.
Yes, teacher. I will, said the elected Paris. The people in the studio began to applaud, and Kim started to cry when Marty put the engagement ring on her finger.
That's it. Very good. Thank you, Diana. In this case, we have thought for pronunciation. Well, this is also one of the examples that we were, let's say, refreshing our memory about. We have started, start finishes with T, and then it goes with ED. So we already have the 4 actually different situations. We already had the headings. I'm sure that because how, let's say, clear and obvious the information is, we can specify easily which heading goes to which article. So guys, what about heading A? Which article goes to that one? Number what?
3.
3.
It will be number 3. Very good. Let me ask now heading B. Which article does it go to?
4.
4.
It will be number 4. Very good. What about heading C?
The first
Number
one.
It will be the first one. And that means that our heading D goes to paragraph number?
2.
Number 2. Absolutely. Very good. In order to wrap up like the different stories that were presented and the activity where we had too much, we are going to move to the next activity. Let's say, Stephanie, could you read the instruction on part 4, please?
Choose the best answer. Complete the article summaries.
Guys, what is a summary?
Like resume.
A short
Como un resumen.
Yeah, we have to be very careful with the word resume. By the way, what is resume?
Como una sinopsis.
No. Resume.
Like play the song, stop and play again.
Yeah, exactly. Like as Daniela already said, I don't have like to paraphrase her words. We have to be careful with the word resume. There are other contexts that we call a resume that is similar to the, what we call, well, that document that we deliver to a company when we are applying for a job. But resume is definitely not about a short version of something. You know that there are some words that are kind of tricky, that they are kind of transparent. So it's easy, and you know, it's normal, you know, if we see resume, we think of resuming. I mean, why not? But we know that English sometimes is tricky. And in the case summary, as you already explained, we're talking about like a short and somehow general idea of something, in this case, talking about the 4 articles that we have already read. Here there are 4, let's say, statements. The idea that you're going to read the 4 of them and you're going to analyze which part actually summarizes the information that we, let's say, analyzed or we just read, we didn't really analyze some minutes ago. Of course, the articles are in the same organization that we have here, the summary. There are 2 possibilities, let's say, on each one. Well, not 2. Actually, in some cases, there are 3. The idea that you choose the correct ones. So at the end of the day, what we have is like the general idea of what you have already read. Okay? Guys, did you have any questions about the instruction? Let me turn this off. No questions? Okay. I'm gonna give you 6 minutes. Okay, remember, make sure that the part that you choose is actually making sense and it is referred to what we have already read. No more interruptions, 6 minutes, starting now. Well, guys, thumbs up. The idea was to wrap up this, let's say, activity in particular, talking about 4 different articles. And the idea was to choose 4 different summaries. Let's see what your answers are. Let me adjust here the list so I can read better. Jennifer Jimena, what about the first one? Could you read the whole sentence now with the, let's say, correct answer, please?
Yes, the woman in Beijing is suing the movie theater because she had to wait a long wait time to see the film.
Very good. That would be the one. What about number 2? Luisa Fernanda Paredes, please.
Dr. Farouk is developing a new technology which will capture the audience attention.
Is it going to capture the audience attention?
It says that the reaction, but it's not the option there.
That's the thing about how are they going to get the reaction?
Say that with new technology, but
Okay, Luisa Perez, do you agree with Luisa Fernanda Paredes?
No, I think is show pictures of the audience.
Yeah, Luisa, that's Luisa Fernanda. Bueno, Luisa Fernanda Paredes, that's the answer in the second one. I know that they are talking about new technology, but precisely the technology will collect the information through the images that are being presented. That is like the line. So
okay, teacher, is that says that people reaction, so it's not an option there. So I put the more similar.
yeah, like it's not that literal, but in this case, they are not like talking about the attention, but the reaction. It is not like to make sure that people are actually watching the movie the whole time, but to see how, let's say, behave towards the image. It was a little bit tricky. I know. I see your point, please. Absolutely.
Okay, teacher, thank you.
Thank you. Mayra Pinzon, what about number 3?
Because was extremely tired.
When Mayra, it's official, I can't hear you. The sound is really bad. I'm sorry, but I'm going to ask Mayra Plata, okay?
Okay, teacher. The German DJ behaved strangely after the end of his broadcast because he was extremely tired.
After the end? After the end would be the show finished, everybody went home, and then he behaved strangely.
Yes. I don't know if it is towards the end of his broadcast because he was extremely tired.
Yeah, towards is more like, let's say, near the end. We can't say before the end because that will be like during still the development, like at the middle of the session, let's put it like that. Towards, let's say, it's closer to that moment in time. And when he was extremely tired, that is absolutely right. Thank you, Mayra.
Thank you, teacher.
And Natalie, what about number 4?
Kim Perez was very surprised because she didn't expect her boyfriend to propose.
That's it. Very good. Well, I know that some of the choices weren't that obvious, and that can be a little bit tricky. And that's intention, you know, that sometimes, let's say that we have to analyze a little bit more, but I have to accept, of course, that in some moments the information is not, let's say, that easy to identify. Guys, we're going to move now to an activity that it is going to be speaking related. Hopefully, I really hope that time works in our side, because I want you to work on a speaking activity, which is going to be the one that we have in here, and then on a written activity. Both activities will be done in groups. In this case, I'm going to read the instruction. Let me move here this bar. It says choose 3 questions about the media that you would like to discuss. If you remember from Friday, we were talking about different types of TV shows, like in very general aspects. Then our discussion became a little bit more, let's say, philosophical, I guess, talking about the impact that it has on, let's say, our reality, specifically talking about the types of TV shows that are being broadcasted these days. Somehow we continue with that same idea, but in this case, not only about TV shows, we're going to talk about like media in general. There are 7 different questions, but in your groups, the one that I am going to create, at random, you have to choose, only 3. The idea that you guys agree on the questions that you are going to discuss, what is going to be the idea, guys, that all of you participate in the groups that will be created, that all of you, let's say, chip in on the opinions that I'm sure this question will get from you. And of course, then we get back the idea that you're going to choose a person, let's say, to summarize the answers. Now, I say choose 1 member. If all of you guys want to, let's say, provide your opinion, it's okay. But the idea that all of you provide the opinion after the discussion that you have on your group. It is not, and I really need to highlight that part. It is not like you divide the questions and then everybody's going to give the answer of 1 question. That's not the point. The idea, of course, is to have this, let's say, a space where you practice the speaking part in your groups. I dare to say that because I don't visit you, you feel a little bit more comfortable, probably less nervous, that if I'm here paying attention to every single word that you say, that you prepare a little bit, then when you come back in here, somehow you're a little bit relaxed because you already took your notes or whatever. So it is not, again, you divide the questions, the day that you, let's say, discuss, you summarize, and at the end of the day, you have let's say, a common conclusion of the information that is being shared. Before we go to the group work, let's read the statements. Number 1 says, should there be fewer adverbs and trailers in cinemas, or do you like watching them? Let's read number 2 and number 3. Gilbert, please.
Okay, the number 2 and 3 sentence.
Yeah, just to read them.
Okay.
You don't have to answer them yet.
Okay. Do you agree that the maximum length of arbets should be 5 minutes? And the 3 is, would you mind if you were filmed by
Advertisers
while you were watching movies? Why not?
That's it. Thank you, Gilbert. Let's have a look at questions 4 and 5. Judy Lisette, could you read them, please?
Is it important that people are stopped from making illegal copies of films? Why not? Number 5, do you know of any more unusual world record attempts? What did that person do?
That's it. And to finish the questions 6 and 7, Ana Maria Velasco.
Has anything unusual like Marty's proposal ever happened on live TV in your country? 7, do you think what Marty did was romantic or embarrassing? Why?
That's it. Very good. So remember, guys, while I create the rooms, you're going to choose 3. You make sure to choose the one that you consider relevant from your opinion, from your perspective. Then you get the information, you collect it, you summarize it. Remember, it is not to divide the questions. Of course, that's not the idea. And it is not that only one person has the information and the other ones don't discuss. All of you chip in. When we get back, the idea that we're going to share what you, let's say, discussed in your group as a kind of conclusion. All right. Well, guys, I'm going to create the rooms. You will be working in groups of 4 participants.
Teacher, there are only 3 questions?
Yeah, from the 7, you choose 3. But there are 20. Okay, let me create them like this. Okay. I'm sorry, I'm taking so long, I know. Let me create them again. Okay, guys, in total, you're going to have 15 minutes. I know that there are 4 participants on every single group. So while you agree, it can take some time. Make sure as well that you take a screenshot, of the questions. Let's say that you don't have problems while you decide on each group what you're going to talk about, okay? Did you have the screenshot already of the questions that we have in here?
Teacher, it is possible to someone take the screenshot for me and send to WhatsApp? Because I don't know what happened with my computer, but I can take a screenshot.
Okay. Well, guys, help Judy, please. Well, I know that this information is on the book, but it's also about the instructions that we have in here. Well, I know that it's pretty clear, but anyway, it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter, no. It will be okay to have all the information for you. Okay, good that everybody's here. Let's start the rooms. Let's begin. Gilbert.
Hello. Hi, teacher. Having some internet connection problems here. Can you
Yes. Do you remember the group that I had assigned to you?
the second one?
Okay. There you go.
Hi, teacher. Sorry, I have problem with my internet and it fails.
Guys, problems. Do you remember your group? The number of your group?
Mm, I think that it's number 6. I don't know.
Yeah, it can be, yeah, because there are only 2 participants. I will send you to that one, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Welcome. Well, guys, time's up. Welcome back. I hope that you actually could, let's say, manage to continue working. I know that the connection wasn't good in some cases. And if you couldn't answer all the questions, well, let's say that no problem. It looks like it is not working that well, so I don't want you to feel stressed or something. Let's see. So from group number 1, for the moment we have Diana, Luisa, and Sylvia. So ladies, which of you is in charge?
Teacher, we decided that all of us are going to participate.
Okay.
We choose number 1, number 3, and number 7.
Okay.
For number 1, they say, should there be fewer adverts and trailers in cinemas, or do you like watching them? We all agree that it's nice and comfortable to watch adverts and trailers as long as they are not too long. We think that maybe 10 minutes are enough.
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 About the third question, would you mind if you were filmed by advertisers while you were watching movies? Why and why not? And we believe that it invades our privacy, and it will be hard to enjoy the movie while someone is filming our reactions and every move we do.
Okay, invasion of privacy.
Yes, teacher.
Okay.
For the 7, do you think what Marty did was romantic or embarrassing? Why? We agree that the proposal was a cute way to express his love to her, but it was too much for this occasion. And we think that it will be a lot of pressure for her to make that important decision in front of all the audience.
Audience. Okay, absolutely. Ladies, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Group number 2. What about you guys? Which questions did you choose?
We choose the
Chose?
we chose the question number 3, 4, and 7.
Okay.
For question number 3, we don't have any problem with that, but we think that the advertisers have to ask for consent from each one. If the audience is notified and all agree, there is no problem. So for us.
Ask for consent. I mean the accent.
And the 4 is important that people are stopped for making illegal copies of films. So we think that yes, is important because you know that companies invest a lot of money to make a good movie, but it's so hard to do that. All the people stop of watch some films or series illegally. That's it.
Okay, stop watching.
And for the last question, we think it's not embarrassing, but it's uncomfortable because the social pressures maybe can be so bad for that moment, and we think it's better personal moment and privacy.
Okay. Pressure and private. Group number 2, great. Thank you very much for your opinion, guys. Group number 3. Andres, Jennifer, and Stephanie.
Okay.
Sorry, teacher.
Okay.
Choose 2 questions, the first, the second, and the fourth.
Okay.
In the group, we had a disagreement because,
Okay.
for example, Stephanie, she likes the adverts that have that more than 5 minutes because she's a person who arrives late to cinemas. So the adverts help her to don't lose a movie.
Don't miss the movie. To
Don't miss.
not miss the movie. Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But for me and Jennifer, that doesn't like us because
we don't like it.
We don't like it because we think that the advert should be few words and the movie and that helps the movie start quickly.
Okay.
And the last question is what the fourth for our it's important the
For us.
copyright for us it's important the copyright. So because the copyright helps to the author to earn money for his work.
For him to work.
For his okay. Until
No, don't worry, Andres. You know, that's the point of this exercise. Like we expose a little bit more compared to the 2 or 3 questions that I ask you. But don't feel, you know, bad or something. That is part of the process, you know, like to keep on polishing the good level that you all guys have. So don't worry, Andres.
Okay, I continue working. Thank you.
Of course. Thank you, Andres. And of course, group number 3. Group number 4, Daniela, Jordan, and Luisa Fernanda.
Teacher, we chose.
We
chose first about this question. We all agree that trailer is good, but not so long because and more if the film is long, like Avatar, for example, because you know we are expect to the film start and trailer spend time and after that is boring. And more if you are tired and probably you are you are asleep.
You fall asleep.
You fall asleep.
We also chose 5, the 5
question. Good.
And yes, the record that most caught our attention is the record for the oldest dog in the world. Is a Chihuahua. Have 23 years old, live in USA, and his name is Pig. He lives in a farm and he likes to follow cows.
That's cute.
Yes, and this record was made by Guinness World Record, which is like a book, a reference published annually and contain a collection of world records in that year.
Okay.
Okay, we chose the 7 and we think that was maybe romantic for Kim, but for us wouldn't be romantic, would be embarrassing. Embarrassing. That moment should be private, maybe with your family, but not in the middle of work or on live TV.
Okay. Well, I didn't want to interrupt in this case at the beginning. And then you're saying we expected maybe, or if we say we are expecting, looks like when you are pregnant and you're waiting for the baby to be born. So probably it doesn't like fit in here. But probably we expected, talking about the movie, sorry. And well, I already told you about the falling asleep. Luisa Fernanda, well, group number 4, Luisa Fernanda, you know that I'm talking about Luisa Fernanda Paredes. The pronunciation, remember, cut, that H, that G, H, T is like weird, you know, but don't worry about that one. It is going to be cut. When you were talking about the dog, the Chihuahua, you said who have. Remember that we were talking about the age. We use the verb to be, so that would be who is 23 years old. And Jordan, private. No, private. Usually that is the pronunciation that we assign to the word, but it is actually private, okay?
Okay, teacher.
But guys, thank you for your answers. Very good ideas. Group number 5, Anna Maria, Harold, and Judy Lisette.
Okay, teacher. I'm going to talk about a little bit about the first one.
Okay.
It's important that people are stopped from making illegal copies of films. Why and why not? We talk in our group and we say that it's a difficult question because I know that this illegal action. But in my opinion, I guess that maybe this is an option for people who live in maybe in the countryside or in a far places, that maybe this is the only one option to discover new places through the cinema.
Okay. Thank you, Harold.
Teacher, I'm going to talk about the number 7.
Okay, Judy.
Okay. Do you think what Marty did was romantic or embarrassing? Why? We talk about this question, and the conclusion is depend of the person. Some people like romantic expression in public, and others don't. Some people prefer something more private. For example, in my case, if my boyfriend, I don't have boyfriend, but in my if my boyfriend asked me in public if I want to get married, maybe I'm going to say yes, but because I can say no in public, yeah.
In public.
In
Okay.
public.
Really, thank you.
And we choose the first one. Should there be fewer adverts and trailers in cinema, or do you like watching them? For us, 2 of us thought that it's important that don't the that don't it's important that the movie start on time because
Okay.
2 of us um are people on time, and so in some of cases we eat the food, the pork comes before the movie, and it's worth wait. And 2 of us thought that it's good because maybe we are late, and the trailers and the adverts help us to be on time, and it's we are in the middle.
Okay. Ana Maria, and of course, group number 5, thank you very much. Just little thing of pronunciation. Well, what I do, I'm going to make a mini parenthesis before we go to the final one. Of course, all your ideas are really well connected. Just like to polish minimum things in terms of pronunciation, maybe. Stopped, but I'm going to share again the material as I had said at the beginning of the session, talking about the past, this one in here. Then we have embarrassing and public. No, public, that is like you from Spanish. We need public. And well, in this case, the movie starts talking about present, like that action happens regularly. And it is boring to wait. No, it is bored. And finally, group number 6, of course, last but not least, Angelica, Brian, and Christian. Which questions did you choose?
Teacher, we choose the, the 1, 2, and 3.
Okay.
For the first one, we agree that the adverts should be there fewer because you go to the cinema and you want to watch the film quickly, and you face the adverts and you can get angry or stressed, and you can lose the interest.
Okay.
And it's about the first one.
Thank you, Ryan.
And the second question, do you agree that the maximum length of adverts should be 5 minutes? We think that maybe it's a good point, but maybe it's no problem that if they have more time, for example, 15 minutes, sorry, 10 minutes. We think that 10 minutes it's a good time to advert, because you can see you can watch the news, the next news movies, and also you can say that the movies that start in a short time. So we think that maybe a little more than 5 minutes, but no more than 10 minutes.
Okay.
The first one, we agree with, we don't have any problem. I mean, it's a little weird and maybe disgusting, but if they make it something implicit, like we're going to see you, we're going to film you, and those are the reasons, but we don't have any problem.
Okay, Christian, thank you very much. That's interesting point of view. Actually, wasn't expecting that you would agree on that one, but of course, everybody has a different opinion. And Brian, stressed and lose interest. Talk about the verb. The accent, Angelica, adverbs in the first one. And start being presented. That would be it. Well, guys, I know that this type of activities, let's say, take up a lot of our time. But one thing that we were reminded actually is that we can't forget like the focus of this, let's say, program, this course in particular. I know that there are some days that probably we spend more time like writing, or I am like asking you the answer of this grammatical exercise, but we are going to, let's say, continue as much as possible, including speaking, because that's like the purpose of this course. Remember, guys, that at the idea at the end, and like we have, let's say, this context of call centers, and we know how that works, you know, that is like, as the name says, calling and being on the phone all the time. So I know that this takes a lot of time, but I want to listen to every single one of you. I know that, you know, in general, you have a pretty good level. Just the purpose is to keep on polishing all that you already know. Well, guys, let's go back to our book. I was telling you at the beginning of our session that we are going to connect with something that we started on Friday. If you remember, we were talking about adjectives. Well, actually, before we go to that part of the book, let's refresh our memory. We were talking about these words that we used to provide descriptions, you know. We are going to keep like that very general definition for adjectives. We don't really to go that beyond. Among all the different categories that we have for adjectives, I'm sure that you know that, for example, colors are adjectives, shapes are adjectives, nationalities are adjectives. In this case in particular, we're talking about those adjectives to provide an opinion, positive or negative, but it is an opinion. And from that group of adjectives, we were talking about the ones that have two different suffixes, talking about ed and talking about ing. We said, just like to summarize it once again, that when we were talking about these adjectives that finish with ed, we're talking about feelings or emotions. And based on that context, because we're talking about feelings and emotions, that means that we're going to use these type of words only with living things. We're talking about people, and of course, we're talking about animals. We also had a second group, in this case, talking about the adjectives that finish with ing. And we said that another difference that we can find is that in this case, we're talking about a general description. And because it is a general description, it could be assigned for living things and also for objects. Also, in this case, this characteristic is more permanent compared to the feelings and emotions. As we already know, feelings and emotions are temporary. We don't feel exactly the same amount of any feeling or any emotion like in a, I don't know, like forever. Everything changes somehow. And basically, this is what we were talking about in terms of adjectives the other day. And we did one activity that was with Kahoot. Before we go to the activity that we have in our book, once again, let's refresh our memory. And it's a very easy exercise, as you can see. Here we have 5 statements. As you notice, we have the 2 versions of the adjectives. In this case, we have ed and ing, very similar to what we did with the Kahoot on Friday. What I want you to do is to analyze the statements and to decide which is the correct form so the statement makes sense. Are we talking about a general characteristic, like a description that is more permanent, or are we talking about a feeling, you know, or a sensation or emotion that the person, or in this case, well, I'm talking only about people, may have? Guys, do you have any question about this instruction?
No, teacher.
It's pretty simple, just like to refresh your memory. I'm gonna give you 5 minutes to analyze it anyway, and then we go to talk about the new, let's put it like that, adjectives of tonight. Let's see, let's refresh our memory. 5 minutes starting now. I was saying you were just like refreshing our memory, connecting to the topic that we are going to study, let's say tonight. Let's begin with number 1. Stephanie, could you read it, please? The complete statement.
I'm feeling tired, so I'm going to go home and go to bed early with a good book.
Tired. That's it. Very good. Thank you very much. John, could you read number 2, please?
Yes, teacher. This math problem is so confusing. Can you help me?
That's it. Very good. Joely, please, could you read number 3?
The journey was exhausting, 12 hours by bus.
That's it. Let's have a look at number 4. Christian.
I was really embarrassed when I fell over in the street.
That's it. And Sylvia, number 5.
That film was so depressed, there was not happy ending for any of the characters.
Sylvia, this one, depressed?
Yes. No.
No.
Depressing.
Yes. Yeah, because remember that the idea is that ED is when we feel something. And in this case, we can say that the film or the movie had feelings. The movie generates a feeling on me, but the object itself can't feel a thing. So it's very like important that we keep in mind like the perspective, because if I think like, okay, but thanks to the movie, I have this feeling and this sensation. Yes, that object is making me feel something, but the movie doesn't have a feeling. So that's the thing to keep in mind. ED only for living things, animals and people. So sometimes it's tricky. And for example, in some cases, like that's the only possibility. For example, I'm feeling tired and that's it. Well, in all of them, because of the context, like the second part of each sentence is giving us like that information that let us know which is the proper choice. But for example, I can also say that I was really embarrassing. Of course, the second part of the statement is guiding me to choose embarrassed. But if the second part, if this information was a complete different thing, I can say that probably I was really embarrassing because I can't even think of an example. Remember that if I say that I am or I was embarrassing, that means that my behavior was kind of ridiculous towards people, you know, that maybe because no, but this is going to be recorded. Well, let's imagine about something different. So we have to be careful when there are like those two scenarios that ED and ING work. What is going to be, let's say, the deal breaker, the context. And in this case, all the sentences have like that second part that work as our context to decide if it is ED or ING. But as I was telling you, let's say that this is not the only set of adjectives that we have. The thing is that this is a kind of big category that we can analyze. And in this case in particular, we're going to analyze the adjectives that we read at the beginning of the session. Remember that we were reading 4 different articles talking about like 4 different stories. And of course, besides the descriptive part, like the narrative of the events, talking about funny, unusual things, we were describing as well the situations. In this case, we're talking about extreme adjectives. And of course, as the name states, we're talking about those adjectives that are giving us like intense ideas, or also they are helping us to describe intense situations, not the regular ones. If we use this type of adjectives, the reader or the listening is going to feel that the situation was a little bit more extreme, as the title of the set of adjectives is telling us. Let's have a look at this instruction. We're going to do, because of time, we're going to do part A and part B. Okay, Judy Lisette, please could you read the instruction on 1A?
Match the extreme adjectives from the news articles with ordinary adjectives.
Extreme. Very good. Notice that here it says the lines. I'm going to move a little bit. Each article had like the lines, you know, that we need to keep in mind in order to recognize faster, I dare to say, and easily in which part of the article we have the adjective. As usual, among many different strategies that we can use, remember that the context plays an important role in here in identifying the different meaning of words. Now, when we say that we match it, it's because we are going to find, let's say, the kind of synonym in the family of adjectives. For example, in the case of number 1, that we have terrified in line 11, we're matching it with very frightened, talking about like kind of similar sensation. At the end of the day, in this case, both feelings are pretty much the same. But if we wanna, let's say, sound, I wanna say dramatic, but not in a negative connotation, but I want to make sure that the other person is like feeling how intense my sensation was. Terrified would be a little bit more strategic and appealing. We have astonished, delighted, exhausted, and furious. We have very angry, happy, surprised, and tired. Anyway, I'm gonna give you a couple of minutes to analyze the different adjectives. I know that you know, but it is like safe to give you a couple of minutes as I was telling you. And guys, to finish, why do you think writers use extreme adjectives? What would be the intention of using this type of adjectives? So 2 minutes for you to have a look here at the adjectives and 1 minute for you to think why is it very common to use this type of adjectives from your perspective, from your opinion, from what you know. And then with this part, we will wrap up the session. So in total, I'm gonna give you 3 minutes for 1A and B, okay? Any question, guys? I take your silence as a no. 3 minutes, and then we finish tonight's session. Analysis of the adjectives. We already talked about ed and ing. In this case, we're talking about extreme, and as the name states, to look a little bit more dramatic. Jordan, what about number 2? We have astonished.
Number 2 is D. Yeah, very surprised.
Very surprised. Okay, very good. Gilbert, what about number 3? It says delighted.
Okay, delighted is C, very happy.
That's it. Very good. Anna Maria, what about number 4? We have exhausted.
E, very tired.
So, which one is left, Harold?
Furious go with very hungry.
Furious, very good. And this final kind of philosophical questions, why do you think writers use extreme adjectives? I'm sure that you already looked at examples on the 4 articles. What could be the reason, Daniela?
Because it's more clear to understand and connect the sentences.
Very good. Any other idea, guys, before we wrap it up?
Should be maybe intensify the word that you want to say.
Intensify, okay. And something else?
Emphasize. Yeah.
Emphasize a situation.
Because if you use a strong adjective, you can express in more detail the thing that you want to say.
Of course, guys.
Your text is not boring. You know, when you read some things, is how do you say? Voy a decirlo en español, profe.
No, Daniela, that's boring.
Ay, no sé cómo decirlo.
No.
Some text is plain, like all easy words, and don't attract the attention.
Doesn't attract the attention. See, Daniela, I know that we are tired, but you were absolutely right. Very good, guys. Okay. So that would be all. Keep in mind, guys, virtual campus. Don't forget that part. Don't forget that on Friday we will have our exam, the speaking part. I will give you more details on Thursday. And well, keep on working, guys. That's all that I have to say. As usual, thank you very much. Good night. Bye-bye.
Bye, teacher.
Bye, teacher. Have a good night.
Bye,
Take care,
teacher.
everybody.